You guys always want to know, what's the healthy relationship look like? How do I avoid the toxic one? What are the signs, right? And don't get me wrong, you should want to know those things. You need to know those things. But what about, how do I get the long-term successful relationship? That part, right? That's what we all really want. I don't want to just find someone great. I want it to last forever, right? So take it from someone that has been in multiple long-term relationships that didn't work out so well, and in one now that is amazing and is thriving, because I had to learn the tools on my journey to be able to produce it. And it's the same thing I coach and teach my clients to help get their successful, long-lasting relationships, right? There's a formula to it. And if you're not aware of what that formula looks like and be able to tweak it to you and your partner specifically, you're going to derail at some point. So let's get into it. And let me preface this by saying, before I get into these key points and things you need to be aware of and take action on, this is all under the main framework of effective communication, right? You have to be able to express yourself openly and honestly and actively listen to your partner in return. And you'll both have to always choose to stay committed, right? If you guys don't both choose those two things as the base pillars, none of this other stuff is going to work. But the first thing you need to always be able to do is stay curious about your partner. You have to create the excitement and keep it alive in your relationship. Once you guys have been together so long where you know everything that person does and says and so forth, right? You have to find ways to make them interesting to you still, so you keep things fresh. That means ask them questions about things that you feel you even already know as time goes. Because look, we grow as people, right? We don't stay stagnant. And so the things we like and the things our partners like changes and evolves over time. So always keep a curiosity mentality of seeking new information about your partner. Ask them things like, do you still like this activity here? Or how do you still feel about this? You still feel the same way you did years ago when you first started doing it? Different things. And you may be surprised that some of the answers start to shift a little bit over time as your partner grows. And if you notice them changing in the way they operate somewhat, ask questions around the changes you're seeing. Make it exciting for yourself. And as you're asking more questions and getting more information, ask deeper questions, ask new stuff. Think of, what have I not asked my partner before that I would have thought I've known, but I've never actually asked them. It's like they say, you go looking for something, you're eventually due to find it. So if you're looking to find something new in your partner, you're going to find it if you keep asking the better questions and digging enough to be curious enough. But here's the sneaky thing that's happening when you do this. You're not just keeping things exciting to keep yourself excited about your partner. You're also giving them a chance to feel significant, feel heard, be important. I mean, how would you feel? You know, your partner comes and genuinely is asking you true questions that want to just get to know more about you, even though you feel like they know everything they should know. And they'll ask you, hey, why do you still like this stuff? How do you still feel about that? You're like, oh, well, I think I am changing what I like about it a little bit. I don't, like this food as much anymore, or I like to go, take walks more than I used to. Yeah, I didn't think about that. They get to be the center of attention. And over time, they're going to want to give you the same energy back because they're feeling really valuable to you. And they're going to want to go and treat you good because you make them feel good. Next, you have to stay attracted to your partner. If you guys don't look at each other and still want to jump each other's bones, it's going to be a problem, right? Which means you have to keep things exciting in the bedroom. You have to try new stuff. You have to keep pushing the envelope in some way. That don't mean you have to be over the top and do some extra stuff, but things you have not tried before, try it, right? But you have to be thinking creatively like that first. You're not going to just all of a sudden pop up and do it. You have to be thinking in that type of mentality. Think about how you felt in the beginning when you guys first started dating way back when, and how exciting it was, and you were looking to explore and learn these new things. Get that same energy back, but think towards new things you can try to re-spark that if you've lost it. Because when you don't feed this part of your relationship, things become really boring, and it starts to become you just living with your best friend, right? Not your actual romantic lover. Next, you have to put intentional focus towards growing together. You have to have ambitions and goals you want to reach that you both really want to get to. You know that term, couple that prays together stays together. Well, a couple that dreams together thrives together. And nothing keeps two individuals closely bonded together and dialed in on the same page than having the same goal and vision that they both emotionally really desire to go get and reach together. It helps you always stay motivated towards that goal because you have someone that's trying to shoot for it too, and that you're working with to get there together. It also helps bring you back in whenever you start losing sight sometimes that your partner's on your team and not against you, because you guys are butting heads and you never forget to lose sight of the love on some level. Next, you have to navigate conflict with grace, right? Look, you're two whole different individuals coming together as one. You're going to fight. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to go through things, right? That's okay. You don't always have to be on the same page. You don't always have to agree and everything else. It's all about having the grace to work and walk through it, to know that, hey, this is not my enemy, right? We're just not understanding each other right now. And however we need to get there, we'll get there, right? But give yourself the grace and you're part of the grace to be able to go through those spaces without feeling like it's the end of the world because you guys are not on the same page about something. And that also requires you to give a little to get a little. But the only way you can actually sit in that mentality is if you both have a focus towards serving the other person. If you're both thinking, well, how can I, give them some ground to help them because I want my partner to feel great and be good. And they do the same thing for you. You resolve conflicts so much easier and so much more effectively with love at the end of it and not still resentment and anger. And this last thing I'm going to say, you guys are not being childish enough in your relationship, right? And now I don't mean in a toxic, unhealthy, just immature way and things that are going to disrupt the relationship. I mean, you guys are not being silly enough, playful enough. Where's the fun at in your relationship? That's the thing that keeps you guys young together. See, somewhere along the way, we grew up and became mature and started adulting, and we can't let our hair down and just be silly and goofy sometimes. But sometimes that's exactly what you and your partner need, because that's the energy base that breeds a lot of the spontaneity and the surprise and excitement that your relationship needs to keep a sense of uncertainty. One of your core needs you have as a human. It's okay to be random sometimes, random in a fun way. And while you're being playful, it's so big to make sure you highlight the small wins, right? You have to be each other's cheerleader, right? So even in the small, just basic things, sometimes blow it up, make it bigger. You have to set the foundation of your standards of what gives you the right to be grateful and celebrate on smaller terms. So whenever the bigger things happen, things are even more vibrant for you guys. You guys start following this kind of a guideline and start really implementing these things, watch how your relationship changes for the better. I promise you. And if you need help creating that type of experience in your relationship, DM me coaching and let's get to work. Let's get it.